It's time for Done Being Single with your hosts, Trevor and Robbie Sharf. If you're dating the same type over and over again, making the same mistakes and not finding love, then you're not done being single. What you need is some tough love dating intervention, Trevor and Robbie style. Whether you're new to dating or have been dating forever, we've got you covered. Now, here are your hosts, Trevor and Robbie Sharf.
Peace.
Love.
And Bobby Sherman. How's everything going, honey?
You know, it's getting better.
It's getting better all the time.
Yeah. You should write a song.
Yes. I think it's already been written.
You think?
I think it might have been written already, but we haven't done a show in a few weeks.
No.
So this is our first show, and it's been a difficult few weeks because of COVID that's still happening. We're in the thick of it, and hopefully we're coming out of it, but I don't know if that's the case.
Right.
And we're very interested in what people are doing during this sequestration.
Yeah.
How are they getting along? How are people dating in this new world? We don't know if that's happening to the degree it used to be.
I think it's changing everybody, single, partnered. I know it's this time has this moment in time has changed me. It's changed a lot about how I feel. And because I've lost both my parents in the last few months, and then adding in what happened with, protests, and there's just a lot of, stuff in the air, and it makes me feel like you start thinking about, do we want to live here? We've had some conversations about moving. This has brought up a lot of, when crisis hits, it makes you think. You start to.
But there's also an angst and anxiety that occurs that we wouldn't have had if this wasn't going on. So I think that it causes you to rethink so many things that you would not normally think about.
Right, like moving.
Like residence.
It just so happened.
Where do we live?
Right.
Are we happy here? We're happy here. We're okay here, but we have aspirations to be others in other places. Yeah. So that's kind of what we're thinking right now. And that's okay. I think it's healthy.
It's sort of, and it came out of nowhere, actually. It's not like we've been planning and thinking. Something in this moment right now has triggered, at least in me, a lot of different feelings. And yes, angst being one, and the need to change, and the need to change up our environment, and the need for peace and quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it might be time to move.
Well, I'd say it's definitely time to consider things that we wouldn't be normally considering, I think. So that's one of them.
And isn't it kind of ironic and coincidental that today's guest wrote a book about house hunting and spouse hunting, and how the hunt for homes is sort of the same. You can make a bunch of analogies to searching and hunting and looking for a mate, looking for love.
Well,
because you have
fascinating,
right? Because
I could see that there is a connection, and just in our brief interaction with Brian, who is our guest today, I can tell that he's a people person, so he's going to have some great insight into this, and we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how they relate in a way. Looking for a house, looking for love, the things you do, the requirements, the criteria, standards, what you're willing to accept, what you're not willing to settle for.
And if you're looking to flip
right
in love,
so
it's not really, that may not apply, actually. Okay. I don't know. So let's talk about Brian.
Well, I want to just say just how funny and sort of related it all is to each other. So buying and selling a home can be a long and frustrating process. Finding a partner could be a long and frustrating, painful process. Okay. Broken window, fix it. Carpet coming up, tack it down. Could you lose 15 pounds? Could you, spruce up a little bit? Can you make the necessary changes and improvements? Yes, that has that in common. You never know when the right buyer is going to come along. Keep the house tidy. Hello, brush your teeth and your hair and take a shower. You have to be
Always a good thing.
ready at all times because you're kind of selling yourself. You are your house in a way,
Your house is you.
right? The last thing you want is to buy a house and discover it's a money pit. Okay. The last thing you want to do is get involved with someone with a ton of emotional baggage and,
Yeah. And go broke.
Right. Good one. The neighbors at your new home tend to play a much greater role in the day-to-day than you think they will. Your partner's friends and family, right? They're going to play a large role and possibly be a pain in the ass. So you got to check out the neighbors and you got to check out your partner's people, which I hid from you for a little bit. But once you met the in-laws, you learned to let them. Well, you know what? We can't play that. Yes, we can. We're always going to play that sound effect. Because,
it has a different meaning now.
It kind of does.
Yeah.
God bless her. She
Yes.
only knew. But she's probably laughing.
I hope so.
Right now.
She has a great sense of humor.
Yeah.
And she liked dark things. And
yeah.
It was,
So anyway, the point we're making is that, my phone's ringing in the background. Robbie and I actually, just a few nights ago, we sat here and we made a list of all the things we want in a house, much like someone would make a list, right? About all the things they want in a guy.
So
I did that.
Tennis court, pool.
People do that. They make lists. And it's really good to make lists, I think, because then you get a visual, you get an image of it in your mind and you get it in your mind's eye. And then you know that when you see it, and I guess if you do it enough, I've been told I don't know about love. I don't know if you look at a list, enough times, you're going to manifest something, but hey, what the hell, right? You want to bring him on?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm going to read his bio.
Okay.
I actually know him from another life. That's what makes this so cool. Brian Belefant, our guest today, began his career in Hollywood, where he quickly rose in the production ranks as a top director, shooting hundreds of TV commercials for household name brands and dozens of award-winning art films. Realizing he was looking at a major life change when his child was born with special needs, he relocated to Portland, Oregon, and became one of the top-selling real estate agents in the Pacific Northwest. Following an unexpected divorce, he wondered if he could use the set of 99 rules, which I just mentioned a few of, I've lost where I am, of real estate he developed to re-enter the dating world with the goal of finding a new spouse. As luck would have it, he could, and now readers everywhere can do the same. Brian Belefant, welcome to Done Being Single.
Hello, Brian.
Yeah, give him some, baby. Give him some sugar.
Hi, guys. This is actually really cool for me. Thanks.
Okay, good.
Thank you for being on.
Great. So, okay, you heard our opening segment, and there's so many parallels, correct?
It's incredible. It blows my mind. I mean, and let me sort of go back by saying that up until I started doing this for other people, I was crappy at doing it for myself. I mean, not just in terms of dating, but also in terms of houses. It's like I would just stumble onto something and go, that'll work. And sometimes it did. I've been incredibly lucky. And sometimes not so much.
So tell us, okay, about the book, the genesis of at what point did you go, oh my God, light bulb, this is a lot like looking for a house, the dating world?
Yeah, you kind of, you probably, I mean, you started to say, I got divorced and it was unexpected for me. I don't think it was really unexpected for my ex. She kind of sprang it on me. And this is 9 years ago. She really enjoyed the process of divorce. So, she invited me to appear in court many times over the course of 4 or 5 years, where she would present her particular interpretation of reality and me and herself. And So I have some trust issues. And so for several years, I wasn't ready to be dating, and I wasn't paying attention to, I mean, I would date, but I wasn't paying attention to getting a relationship. And so that allowed me to focus on my children and my work. And in my work, I was putting people with homes. I was helping them find the thing that would get into their hearts. And then one day, I suppose I was ready. I was dropping off my daughter to school, and we were talking about friends and how friends aren't necessarily the same as people whose company you enjoy. And what does that mean? And how can you make sure that the people that you find that you keep close are your friends? And this light bulb went off, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I already know the answer to this. I have all these rules that I've been writing down about the things that I guide my clients to do in real estate. I wonder if they all parallel how it would work to find a relationship. And as I went through, it was uncanny how connected those two things are. And when you think about it, it makes sense. It's the same process. I mean, you're looking for something that will make you happy, that will feed your soul, that you can give to, and that will, make your life better. That's what it's all about.
Okay, so do you know anything about The Secret and the law of attraction?
Oh, yeah.
All right, I may be getting ahead of myself, but this is, it just, that popped up in my mind, because this sounds like when you make lists and, you think about in advance what it is that I want, what am I looking for? Do you think that if you put the energy out there for a certain kind of a person, a mate, a partner, or a house, if you think enough about it and you visualize, that it will make itself appear, that you will find it and it will find you?
See, I call myself not a spiritual person, even though I've been called on that a lot of times, because I act like a spiritual person and I believe in some spiritual things. But when it comes down to it, I think of myself as more practical. And so I think that, yes, it works, but the way it works isn't that the universe hands it to you. It's that you recognize it when it comes along. And it's a lot easier for you to dismiss the things that aren't going to work for you because, oh, look at that pretty paint.
How many of your clients get what they want? How, on a scale of 1 to 10, how many would you say check all the boxes or enough of the boxes?
When you say clients, do you mean in the real estate world?
Yes.
It's close to 100%. And I think that when it isn't 100%, it's because they really haven't done the work to understand exactly what it is that they do want or what they can have. I mean, there is a limit. I mean, it's like, yeah, I want a tennis court and a house on the beach. But let's also be realistic. I'm not in that position. That's not the house that's going to come to me. So when you realistically evaluate, there's want and there's need. And when I don't know if we're going to get into this, but you were talking about a list. I've broken down the list into 3 sections, and it's the deal breakers, which are the things that I absolutely have to have in a house. It's like if I've got 3 kids, I can't live in a studio. And then there are the things that there has to be a compensating reason for not having those things. If I want a big front yard and I find a house that has a small front yard, but it's across the street from a park, will that park compensate for the fact that I don't have a big front yard? So that's the compensating reason. And then the thing that I think is, for me, sometimes the most important is the list of the things that I'm attracted to. And part of that is because it makes me aware that, like I love a mid-century modern home. But if I turn this camera around and you saw the way I live, goddamn, no. I can't live in a house like that, especially with 2 kids and a dog. And, so yeah, I'm very much attracted to that. But that is probably not where I belong. And then when you make those lists, you go through and the deal breakers are, if somebody or something doesn't have the thing that's important on your list, out it goes and you move on. The middle list, the stuff that you have to have a compensating reason for, are things that you can negotiate on. Am I willing to give up this thing that's important? And if so, what am I getting in return? And then the attractive thing is like, yeah, my head is turned by that. Nice if it has it.
Do you find that deal breakers in real estate, similar to deal breakers in personal relationships, are sometimes things that you have to take a second look at, because what might have been initially a deal breaker might be something that everything else is so good. This is not so much of a deal breaker anymore for me. And that may be on a personal level, it may be religion, it may be politics. I don't know. It may be something else that you went in going, this is a deal breaker for me. But now, because I like so much about her, or I like so much about this house, that's less important.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that one of the things that I try and tell my clients too is that these lists, just because you've written it down doesn't make it, you're not writing it in stone. You get to go, hey, you know what? Maybe this is something that, that works for me or that doesn't work for me. And nobody's going to evaluate you except yourself. I mean, I have this thing about dietary restrictions that used to be sort of a deal breaker. It's like, I don't want to go out with somebody who has dietary restrictions because I'm kind of an omnivore. Well, turns out I met this girl and she's almost entirely vegan and it's working.
Right.
So the thing is, the deal breaker with her would be if she wouldn't allow me to be an omnivore. That's not her thing.
Right.
This is really so front and center right now. I just had a conversation with a girlfriend of mine who is single. And a lot of our audience is probably in their 50s, 60s, midlife, single, divorced, would you say?
Yes.
Lots single.
40s. Yes.
And I was listening to I was on my spinning bike, and the Stones, you can't always get what you want, but you try sometimes. You just get what you need, which I love. That song it just really resonates for me, because I have come to a place in my life, and I think you do at this age, or you should at this age, where, hey, there is no such thing as perfection. Yeah. And that if you keep looking for it, you probably won't find it, because you can't possibly find someone with everything you need. But with that said, you might find someone, or everything you want, everything you want.
Yeah.
I need a guy who's this and that and this. I want. I hear it all the time. My single girlfriends are always at this age. And I say, hey, maybe if you just relaxed a little bit and you lowered your expectations, not in a bad way, not in, a bar lowering way, but ease up on it, you may find what you need. And I think that's sort of a little bit of a mantra. It is for me in my life, with anything.
I think you're absolutely right. And I also think that the way I sort of frame it to the people that I work with is, if you're looking for somebody who is this sort of objective perfect thing, don't you have an obligation to be equally perfect back to them?
Yeah.
It's like I had this guy's, he had a crush on Steffi Graf, and he thought that they were determined to be together. And I'm like, what are you offering her? What does she see in you? Let's answer that question, because if she can, you can't really know, maybe she would, but she's exposed to so many people with so many objectively amazing things. And this is a guy, he goes to work 9 to 5 every day. And then let's also take that next step. It's like, if this were to work out and, you were in a room with Steffi Graf and your eyes met, whatever, where does this go? Because she's on the circuit. She's off practicing. She's up at 4 a.m. practicing. What are you doing at 4 a.m? Are you sleeping? Or are you going to get up? You're going to change your life so that you can be up at 4 with her practicing? Or are you going to encourage, manage, support? Because it's one thing to idolize. It's like, yeah, I'd love to have a tennis court. Well, who's going to clean the tennis court? Who's going to take care of it? Who's going to insure the damn thing? Those things too.
How long have you been good friends with Andre Agassi?
Geez, it's hard to count.
Okay, he doesn't have a 9 to 5, but that's a it's a really interesting thought, because when you think, like, my sister had the biggest crush on Paul McCartney, and she thinks that, I'm perfect for him or something. How do you know that? But everybody thinks that whoever they have a crush on is going to reciprocate in the same way. And it doesn't really work that way.
Well,
Yeah,
there is a saying, be the person you want to date.
absolutely.
Without
right?
wanting to date
Yeah.
yourself.
I mean, that's where growth, personal development, self-improvement come in. That's where you want to have your house look as good as it can be in order to sell it.
But I also,
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm sorry. No, I just say this is what I love about your podcast here. It's like this isn't a dating podcast. This is a relationship podcast. If I want to go get out late, get laid, that's different than if I want to find somebody that I'm happy waking up with every morning, having problems that she can help me solve, and having her have problems that I can help her solve, and supporting each other. I'm sorry, for me, that's not Steffi Graf.
It's a very personal, subjective thing, obviously. But
Yeah.
I agree with you, is that you have to be prepared to deliver what it is you are expecting from somebody. You need to, that's just a given right there.
Yeah.
That's very important.
Yeah, but at some point, you have to come to some level of acceptance, self-acceptance. I mean, there's another saying that you are enough. People say that all the time in the dating world. You are enough. And you should be enough. And then I say, my response to that is, but you're not off the hook. You still have to work and grow and learn and do all the stuff to keep to keep yourself happy and healthy and attractive if you're single out there, or to keep yourself healthy emotionally if you're in a relationship. I mean, the work continues.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for that second part. I think it's super important. You're not off the hook. You don't get to just go through life and say, somebody will stumble along and think I'm amazing. Why wouldn't you want to be amazing? Be as amazing as you can be as yourself. And, there is that sort of self-fulfilling thing that the people that are drawn to you are going to share a lot of your qualities and characteristics and values.
Question for you, Brian. Were you single when you got into real estate, or were you already married? Or did it happen at the same time?
No, I was definitely single. I mean, we were still enjoying the court system.
Okay.
But
so I have a question for both you guys, because you're in sales.
Yeah.
In some way. How do you apply your skills as salespeople to your dating life? How did you do that? And were you aware that you were doing it at the time? And are there skills involved? Are there sales skills? Say that 5 times.
No.
You've got to be a salesperson if you're going to be single, in a way. I want to hear it from you guys.
Robbie, you go first.
Okay. Well, yes, there is a skill set involved in a natural salesperson that you can translate what it is in sales for a product to what you are able to do with a potential mate. And that is, number one, make this person comfortable. Don't make this person feel like you're trying to sell them something. I think it's very important. You don't want to come across as a salesperson, even if you are. I think the best salespeople are those that it's totally transparent. You're just conversing with them, and all of a sudden, you can't get your checkbook out fast enough to buy what it is they're pitching you. So I think that's important. But before we go to the next, I want to hear Brian's take on this too.
Well, I have a rule. I think it's number 28 in the book, which is the listing doesn't sell the house; it sells the showing. What sells the house is the showing. When somebody comes to get to know the house in person, I don't believe that my job is to sell houses. My job is to help people narrow down the field of houses to the ones that are most likely to be a good fit with them, and give them an opportunity to get to know those houses so that they can decide whether they want to buy that house. But even if I could, I'm not going to talk somebody into a house. And it's the same thing with dating. So when it comes to dating, I look for an opportunity, the whole trust thing is a big thing for me. When I feel comfortable enough that I can be myself with somebody, that's the first step. And then if she likes the person that I am when I let my guard down, that's the second step.
Yeah.
but it's not selling. I'm not trying to convince.
No, you kind of have to sell like you don't need the sale.
That's also,
Date
that's a
like you
negotiating
date like
part
you
of
don't
this.
need the date.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think need is really, I mean, that nails it. I think if you need the date, walk away.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's there's something, and this goes back to sort of desperation and how you feel
Yeah.
it, and you can smell it and sense it, and it's not a great look.
No, it's not.
It's, if you're in the sales business, if you're desperate for a sale, it's like you can just feel that,
Yeah.
yikes, it's a turn off.
There's so many terms that come to mind when you're comparing real estate and dating, and one that I just came to my mind was staging.
Oh yeah.
And how do you, what are you putting out there to attract somebody that may not be real? It may just be a temporary kind of a attractiveness for a potential buyer to say, oh, I could see myself living in this environment. But it also applies to your online dating profile.
Absolutely.
And et cetera. So go ahead.
No, I think that what, staging to me is like, it's presenting an ideal. It's like, on my best day, this is how I look in a photo. This is, the clothes that I wear, how neat my room is. I mean, same thing with a house. I mean, you're not misrepresenting the house by putting nice furniture in it. You're just saying, this is what it could be on its best day. And, what are the alternatives? I mean, not staging means the house is empty, and showing it the way I live in it, that's taking a big risk on people having the vision to know what their life is going to be like in this house.
That's why, as an agent, you probably don't want the owner's stuff all over the place, because it's highly personal and it can taint the ability for the potential customer to see a neutrality there. It's not neutral. It's that owner's.
Yeah, and there are exceptions. I mean, there are people who have extraordinary taste in what they've done with their houses. It's like, yeah, I couldn't beat this. And one of the things that I tell a lot of my clients is that, houses, you're selling a lifestyle, you're not selling a house. And so imagine you live this life. And so the furniture, the staging reflects the life that you get to live. Just as in a dating profile, it's like, imagine what your life is going to be like with me. I mean, we go windsurfing every Saturday up in the gorge. That's the message that I'm putting across in my profile. And
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. We were just on the MLS, yesterday, looking at listings. Oh my God.
Well, we do live in a pretty high-end area down here. It's kind of,
it is shocking.
It's depressing.
It's like looking at dating profiles. How they photograph their homes with the amount of junk and garbage, and
some people put a lot of effort into great photos. Some people didn't do any effort, and they left the bathroom a mess, and you see clothes on
what is that?
It's a window. It's a window into their lives, and it's fun in some ways, but it's also kind of depressing sometimes. It's sort of like the bathroom selfies to me.
Oh God.
If you really think of the message behind that, what are you saying? That nobody else could take your picture? That the best place for you to show up is in a bathroom? I mean, come on, really?
Yes.
And in the same profiles, a lot of times you're like, I have all these friends. It's like, hand them the camera.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Please explain that, the bathroom selfie.
I can't.
I can. And it's also the driver's seat selfie. You see that as well. And I think that there's a similarity there, in that a woman or a guy is going to see themselves in that look and say, oh, I look great. I need to take a picture of this right now. And there's nobody here to take my picture. I have to do it myself. And that's either in the driver's seat or in a bathroom. And that just happens. And I think that they don't think more than that about it.
That's a very generous explanation.
Thank you.
How often do you find yourself saying to clients, well, okay, it's not, perfect house. It's a little rough around the edges or whatever. But if you could see it this way, or if you could give it a chance, or if you can give it a break, you know what I mean? You find yourself doing that?
Not so much that, because what I like to do is with my clients is we start with a list. And then if we see a house that I think ticks all the things on the list, then we can always go back and go, okay, so it's got all the things that you say are important that you're not responding. Is there something missing on your list? is there something on your list that, now that you see this house doesn't square? And I find myself doing that with dating too. I have this ongoing list, and I met this girl and she ticked all the boxes on the list, and a couple had before, and all the deal breakers were there, and almost every single one of the must have a compensating reason, they were all covered, but they just didn't make it to the next, we just didn't want to take it to the next round or whatever. And then I met this one, and what is it? What made the difference? Well, it sort of came down. I had, sat down with myself and went over my list and like, okay, what's the part that's missing? In this case, it was the trust thing, that I feel totally comfortable going, she's walking in the bathroom and I'm walking out and I go, sorry, I just demoed it. I mean, there's no like hesitation, like this is me.
I thought
And
somewhere else with that. Okay.
I'm sorry?
I thought you were going somewhere else with that. She walked in the bathroom and I fart.
Oh,
And it's fine. I thought that's
Exactly.
boy.
well, that's trust. That's love. That's come on.
Absolutely.
That's feeling comfortable.
Yeah,
See what being married to Robbie's done to me.
it's wonderful.
It is. Mm-hmm.
10 years old, actually, my husband.
Not at all.
Where's the fart?
Which fart?
No. Yes. Okay. Chicken farts. What the hell?
Buttons got.
So do you actually have like a bunch of buttons that are
Yes.
Not at
How do
all.
Yes.
Okay. Been sound effect light for the past.
You've been
Many shows.
you've been a little, your trigger finger's a little rusty.
You want to start over?
All right. So anyway.
Okay, so there's another saying that men date women hoping they'll never change, and women date men hoping
They will. Hoping they'll
Yeah.
change them.
that they will, something like that they will change, or that they can
Yeah.
change them. Now, you've heard that before, right?
Well, yeah, not in those words, but yeah, exactly. I think there's a whole lot of truth to that. I mean, it's, and I'm a big fan of biology. I think that, when we were hunters and gatherers, women are vulnerable, particularly when they're pregnant and raising little nippers. So there is a requirement from a biological point of view to be protected, and men want to spread their seed as far and wide as they can to, perpetuate their own gene pool. And so, yeah, men are going to look for the fruit that's ripe, and women are going to look at the one and go, that's going to keep me safe and help me raise the nippers until, whatever. So maybe our society has progressed to the point where those things aren't as important. Women by and large are in a much better position to protect and defend themselves, even when raising children. And where would they biologically be vulnerable? We're not in that kind of a society, but we're still wired with that stuff.
I can't remember the rest of the saying. Women date men hoping that they'll change or something. I think what I'm trying to get at is when you buy a house and
Yeah.
you buy it, you commit to it. You commit to it because it looks great, or you commit to it. How many of your clients, I should ask you, say, all right, sold, I'm going to buy this house and just not change a thing? Or do people buy a house and go, oh, I'm going to change this and that and this and that, and it's the only way I can buy this house is if I can change it?
It totally depends on the clients. I've had both. I had clients, repeat clients, which I love. They bought a house 3 years ago. They were ready to move up. Their salaries had gone up. They're doing better. And we went to look at the house, and they hadn't done a thing to it. And they're like, yeah, we were new. We were going to get a new house. So just turn this one and get on to the next one. I think, the thing is that they were honest about it. So that was great.
It's funny when you do find a place, whether you're looking to move in as a tenant or whether you're looking to flip, you say, this house has good bones.
Mm-hmm.
And same with people.
Or a fixer-upper.
And so is this person a fixer-upper? Because we do have people that gravitate towards wanting to fix people. And but what we've learned is you really can't fix people. People don't want to be fixed.
Darn.
People,
unless they want to fix themselves.
They can,
Shit.
they have to want to
Yeah.
fix themselves in order to accept being fixed or being
Yeah.
bad term, but or accept getting help. And that's really important. I think it's the acknowledgement that I need help before you can accept help.
Or
And
you have to be willing. I have a growth mindset, which I'm very proud of.
Mhm.
You, not so much.
Mhm.
As I mentioned, Brian, I'm a fitness pro.
Yeah.
The worst client I've ever had in my life is my husband. He will not do one thing I say. He hates it. He hates every minute of me telling him.
Okay.
And I know what to do. I'm the boss here, I have the expertise. Okay, don't try to get out of this with sound effects. Don't even put that finger down. Put the finger down.
That's enough.
So can you blame me? Look, I want him to be, especially now, I want him to be in tip-top shape. I want him to be healthy and strong. I don't want, God forbid, anything to happen, but I don't think you dig that. You just are like, hey.
I like to work out on my own schedule at my own pace.
I say fix it up, that
I know,
come on.
and I'm doing it. You know that I am putting that effort forth more than I've done in the past. So that's very important.
Don't get lazy.
Uh,
Right? You got to keep the house. You got to keep it looking good. There's repair work to be done.
mm-hmm.
Little things and tweaks. You got to make it, strong and healthy and looking good.
Can I give you two answers?
Yeah.
One for each of you?
Yeah, shut up. And
No. I think I understand this because you're both right. Trevor, your point of view is you want to do the regular maintenance so your house doesn't fall down.
maintenance.
You also want to have, a home warranty, meaning that if something does go wrong, you have recourse. You can help make it back to good. You want to get things to get better. The other side of it, Robbie, from your point of view, the thing that I caution people more in dating than with houses, because with houses, and it's actually a good thing, that when you find somebody that's a project and you fix them, if you succeed, then they're fixed. They're not the same person that you were drawn to. So you're going to have to reevaluate your relationship based on the fact that now this person has been fixed. What is your role?
Yes.
Very well.
I was a boyfriend flipper. Come to think of it, Brian, I really was. I did.
Yeah.
I got the projects. I found the fixer-uppers. Fix them, and then I'd flip them.
So maybe he's doing you a favor.
He flipped me.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's a very interesting point.
So if you were to get me to your ideal mate's physicality, you'd have nothing to do anymore. That's
no, I don't. No.
So I
know. I love you the way you are. Listen. I knew who you were when we started dating,
yeah,
and I loved you then. I don't care. I don't care if you're not a gym rat. I knew that.
No, I've never been that, but I do love competing, as you know.
Okay.
And
well,
I love
if you
sports.
If you put a ball in his hand,
he
will do anything.
I will.
And if you put balls in his hands, he will really do anything.
Well.
Anyway, the point is about we could have a whole conversation about finding fixer-uppers and geez.
Yes.
It's you never end up on it's bad end for that, especially people who are newly divorced and separated.
Yeah.
Yikes. You really, buyer beware. Caveat emptor.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm saying there is Brian. And I made that mistake over and over again, thinking I can fix them.
How'd that work?
Yeah.
Does not work.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But let the expert speak.
Well, okay.
Oh, can I just sort of push back on that? Because I don't think of myself as an expert. I think of myself as a guy who's tried to work out stuff for himself. And if it helps, great. You have people on the show who actually know their stuff.
No, we don't.
It sounds like you do.
we have, but everybody is a person, and everybody, I think, has. I agree with your attitude 100%. If it works for me, I'm happy to share it. It might work for somebody else. It might not. I never wanted to call myself a dating expert. This one always loves calling herself a dating expert because I don't know what that really means. And I have experience in dating. Does that make me an expert? No, it doesn't.
I think
I think if you're paying attention, it does, because you have this experience and you can share it.
It's my experience, and it may not work for somebody else. And I can offer that as a suggestion for things. I would hate to be cut and dry with things and say, this is the way it works. This is the way it doesn't work. It doesn't, you can't apply that to everybody. It's not a cookie.
You can't, but I think what you're saying is that you recognize that. I had these friends in high school. Their dad was in the Merchant Marines, and they had 3 days shore leave in Brazil. He went ashore single. He came back married to some, Brazilian woman who didn't speak a word of English.
Perfect.
They're still married. Oh. It's like 40 something years later. I can't tell you why that worked. I had more in common with my ex, and we didn't make it 10 and a half years. So.
Wow. That's you do hear about that. One night stands.
Right. I was about to say.
Uh-oh.
Oh my gosh.
Hold on. I have to get up for a second. My daughter's here. I'm not sure why.
Okay.
Pause.
I don't, but go ahead and look. I'm actually on a phone call right now.
A talking dog.
Oh, yeah, I do have a talking dog.
That is hilarious.
Have you seen it? Are you saying that because you saw that, or are you just saying that?
No, we heard it. First we hear a dog barking, and you say, and it starts to talk.
Oh, okay. No, I use my dog as my spokespuppy for my business. And I have a series of videos of him talking.
That is really
and funny. They make me so happy. It's stupid how happy they make me.
What's the response been?
It's been fantastic.
It sounds great. It's
I don't remember. There's some old TV show from the 1960s where they had, I think it was a dog, where they superimposed people's lips moving.
Mr. Ed?
No, it was before Mr. Ed, way before. Anyway, that's what I do because I know Final Cut pretty well, and I just like that. Little live action dog.
Clutch Cargo.
Lancelot Link.
No, Lancelot Link. It was like real monkey's lips, but
that's Robbie's favorite show, by the way.
That's one of my favorites.
Oh, I remember loving that as a kid. Oh my god! But yeah, so I made an Instagram account for my dog, Milo Dot Speaks.
Oh my
and God. I put up these videos, and I put up his point of view. Like when we go on a walk in the neighborhood, he'll see some trash that he wants to smell, and take pictures of that, stuff like that. It's just.
I love it.
I just entertain myself.
Okay, I forgot what we were talking about.
Doesn't really matter. We're having a good time.
We're having a great time. I want to know. First of all, I just want to say something about the expertise part. I really do believe if you've done something long enough, you do become an expert at it. Especially,
yeah.
I mean, isn't that what Malcolm Gladwell said?
10,000.
If he said it, it's got to be true.
10,000 hours.
10,000 hours. Yeah.
Okay, I went on 10,000 dates.
Yeah.
I'm an expert. Sorry. Deal with it.
Yeah, but an expert at what? At that point, 10,000 dates doesn't mean that you're an expert at except for accepting dates. That doesn't mean that. Where's the expertise?
Because I know everything
there
is to know about.
Maybe you shouldn't have accepted so many dates.
Well, that was my education. How do you think I got this brilliant? Anyway, enough about me. Ryan, let's talk about your rules.
What do you think of her?
Brian, your book. Tell us the name of your book.
The book is Spouse Hunting, Using the Rules of Real Estate to Find the Love of Your Life.
Now, tell us a few of your favorite rules from the book.
My favorite rule, hold on. I wrote this down because I hope you were going to ask me that thing. Obviously, I like number 5, which is to make a list. The one that was kind of the most surprising to me was rule number 42. And it's number 42 because of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. But the rule is get feedback from buyers. And what that means is I would go on dates, and for whatever reason, no chemistry, whatever, didn't work out, thank you very much. Back in the days we used to shake hands. And I was writing the book and I went on a date and I really liked this girl. And she just was like, nah, I don't think we need to do it again. And so it was hard, but I brought myself, I worked up the courage and I said, I'd like to get some feedback. What is it that didn't work for you?
Wow.
And I got to say, she gave me an honest appraisal.
Oh,
We had a great conversation.
Oh my
And
God.
here's the cool part.
Having an exit exam from a X.
I hate to put it in those strict terms, but you know what? I knew that I was applying the rule in real estate, and I thought, well, if this is a parallel, then I need to do it in dating as well. And so, yeah, it was hard. I did it. She gave me her appraisal. And then the neat thing is she introduced me to two of her friends. So it's not just, I think the feedback is the important part. The extra, frosting on the cake was that, because I was forthcoming and said, I really want to see what I can do to, make this work better, make me work better, what's missing, what's working, whatever. She took that as like a really good sign.
And the two of her friends, what happened there?
It didn't work out with either of them. We never actually met, but she introduced me. Yeah.
Great.
That's my amazing daughter. Amazing.
Great.
Good for
God,
you.
her brain is incredible.
Congratulations, Dad. Good job.
Yeah, good job.
I hate feedback. I would never ask.
Honestly, it scared the crap out of me.
I think it's brilliant. I think it's so refreshing. And I think that you can only learn if you are able to be defenseless and not have to put up a wall of not wanting to hear some negative things as well as positive. And I think if it's an honest portrayal of in an exit exam for a relationship, I just think there's something to it.
But you're not a house. People aren't houses. They're, feedback on a house. Okay, you're not going to hurt the house.
People are houses, my friend.
People have feelings, and if you've had any experience in the career that I used to have working in film, that's the hard part. I always admired the crap out of actors because they are the product, and so any negative response, is a critique of them. And so, how do you get up the guts to go back the next day and go to another audition where the odds tell you you're going to be rejected, and they just keep doing it, and they keep doing it, and they keep doing it. It's just,
because that is casting, and then
that is casting.
It just comes down to simple casting. Are you right for the part?
That's the thing. Are you right for the part? And back to what Trevor said before, it's like you are enough. You may not be right for this part, but you are enough.
Person, or you may not be the right house for this family.
Yes, doesn't make you a bad house.
This house is perfect for the perfect family that will respond to this house. This person is perfect for that potential mate that is looking to check off all the boxes that this person has. So it's so subjective.
And I do believe that there's somebody for everybody. I think there's more than one somebody for everybody. I see couples, and I'm like, I don't know what you guys see in each other because I don't see anything in either of you, but you're happy together. God bless you.
Thank you for that.
I say it all the time. There's a lid for every pot.
Is that what you said?
The rocks in her head fit the rocks in her head fit the holes in his.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's such a compliment.
But back to the feedback, or maybe sort of on a related note, when I would meet a guy and I would dig him, and there was some maybe chemistry and connection, and we had a second date, and maybe a third date. So I don't know if everybody knows this, but I study astrology. I'm a little bit of an amateur astrologer, and I'm getting to my question.
More than amateur.
I am getting around to my question
sure
here.
hope
It does relate to real estate. So I would go home and I would get their birth information, and I would do their chart, and I would see if we were on paper, if it was real, compatible, So my question to you is, how many clients say to you, I need my feng shui shaman here. I need to feel the energy. I need to know it's not just the house is nice looking, but I need to have I need something else to come in and confirm that it's it's got good energy here.
It's funny, Portland, for its reputation, we don't seem to have as much of that as you would expect.
Surprising, yes.
Yeah, I saw a lot more of that in LA than I ever see here.
I'm doing feng shui for a guy, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think, there's nothing wrong with getting help. I think, well, my question to you is, did you ever, go out with somebody you liked them enough to go on 3 dates, do the charts and go, oops, no, cut them off?
Because of a bad chart?
Because of a bad chart, yeah.
If it didn't work, it sort of confirmed what I already saw.
Uh-huh.
If it did work, I mean, look, we all look into things the way we want to look at them, right?
Yeah.
And so I see there are things in Robbie's chart that I know that, of course, he's that way because he's a double Gemini and his moon's in Aries. And I know certain placements aren't necessarily, some are super compatible with mine and some aren't, not so much. But hey, opposites attract. But I was just curious because I feel very strongly about one's home and one's surroundings and the energy.
Yeah.
And I swear, the more I know about feng shui, and I've also read a lot about that too, the more I truly believe a home has a personality. A home has a heartbeat, and it has, a life, sort of. There's life force inside a home.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not always good.
Sometimes it isn't. The house that I ended up buying, if I had gone through my list, it checked off something on the list. Some things became super important when I finally saw the house. I'm like, I have to have a porch. I don't know why, but I have to have a porch. This house has a porch. It makes me super happy. But the energy inside was just, in the living room, there's like this column of flies swirling around. And so it's like, I'm not, like I said, I'm not a spiritual person, but I'm kind of open. So I went and got some sage and I burned it in the house and I made up my own ritual. And sure enough, the flies went away and the house feels better. I can't tell you why. I'm glad it worked.
Right. There are some no-nos, some feng shui. Like if we were to go house hunting and we saw a house that the staircase pointed right to the front door. That's supposedly not great.
You open the front door and there's a staircase.
And the money, it's
interesting.
Yes, she's very sensitive to that. We've seen that in other people's homes.
Another is
and let them know why.
Tell me why.
We went to a friend's house.
What happens to
the money goes out the door. Stairway.
What if you keep the door closed?
It doesn't matter.
Well, that's
you open the door, it's exposing the stairway and it's going straight out. So it's just an interesting kind of a comment that Trevor made.
And we went to a friend of ours used to have a lovely old house in the Hollywood Hills, gorgeous. I mean, original, everything.
Yes.
And we walked in. The first thing I said was, "She's hasn't done well in this house financially."
And it's true.
Because of the staircase.
Because of the staircase, and lo and behold,
interesting.
We ended up moving not too long after that.
Wow.
Another no-no for me, or not a no-no, but just to be kind of aware of, are beams, overhead beams.
I'd heard that one, but is it when you can see them? Because like if you have a normal ceiling, there are rafters, but the ceiling comes underneath it. Is that okay?
There's some debate as to whether beams are, okay, or there are ways that you can mitigate the negative energy from beams. It's the same thing if you dated someone with baggage. Hello, it's the same thing. They come with it. The house, the structural, there are elements to a house that you cannot really change, as there are with people. Change the fact that someone's divorced with kids and might have a crazy ex or whatever. That's just the way it is, and there are ways to work with it. The energy, I'm assuming. I don't know.
So can you do anything about the doorway, or is that just, stairways going to our doorway? That's a no-go.
Yeah, I think you can.
You can't relocate it.
I think you can with just some mirrors. If you have a mirror at the front door, projecting energy out, the reflection or inwards. I can't remember. There's certain things, if you can't, obviously you can't rip up a stairway, but there are ways to work with what you got.
Could be a deal breaker.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
Water features are great. That's why people tend to put water, fountains, and that's good feng shui.
Uh-huh.
Plants in certain corners of the room, where bathrooms are placed, where kitchens are placed. There's a whole science to it. There's a whole art and science to it. I love it, but that's just me. We could go on.
Brian,
Go on.
It's about that time. Yes. But we'd like to hear from you. Where can people find you, and tell us how about your book and where we can get that to?
Okay. Well, the book is on Amazon, and the best way to get it is to search for Spouse Hunting, and it'll be one of 700,000 things that come up. But if somebody wants to find me, the best way is probably Facebook. I'm Brian, your favorite realtor, on Facebook. And on Instagram, I think I mentioned that Milo, my puppy, is my spokes puppy, and he has a site, milo.speaks,
Got it.
where you can see him doing spokes puppy stuff for me.
Great.
Okay. Great. Do you have to be in your area to work with you?
Well, yeah, I'm licensed only in Oregon.
Okay.
And I just got an email this morning from somebody in Florida asking me questions, and if I can't answer the question, I can always find the person who can answer the question. So I'm happy to help.
Okay. Groovy.
Brian, this has been very enlightening.
You guys are awesome. Thank you.
You are
Thanks.
too.
You're awesome too.
And
Come back.
Yeah, we really
Okay.
Enjoy this. This is exactly what our show is about. It is a relationship show.
Yeah.
We are 6 years into our marriage, just a couple weeks ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And if it wasn't for yesterday's fight, we may not.
But we got through it.
We got through it
because we've got good feng shui in this house.
Yes.
So.
Well, and I think that the last rule in my book is express your gratitude, and I'm sure you guys do. It's like, you know what? If you keep your eye on, it was not easy finding this person, and I am grateful for having done that. That's what keeps relationships going.
Yeah. Right. Gratitude. We'll take
Yeah.
that off just about
Say it
anything.
better. Brian, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah.
And
we'll come see you in Portland when we're there.
Oh, please do. Got to be so much fun.
If you're ever in LA, come
Absolutely,
say hi. And
Oh, if we're ever in LA, I just got to say this. We are going to El Pollo Loco. That's the one thing I missed so much.
All right. We may make a little call an audible there at the
we
end.
got much.
Yeah, there's some better.
There's some.
Yeah.
Come on.
Mr. El Pollo Loco, if you want to sponsor, come on.
Yeah, we should not say that.
We love El Pollo.
I do. I love El Pollo. But you know what, Brian? You were in advertising, right?
Yeah.
I have the perfect tagline for them.
Tell me.
I'm not going to tell it.
Don't tell it.
No,
all right.
I'm telling.
Okay, don't tell it on the air. Okay.
Save it.
I have a Clio winning.
Oh my God. Okay, Cleo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Winning tagline for El Pollo Loco. And I also have one for Der Wiener Schnitzel.
All right.
Are they still around?
Yes.
There's one out here in Santa Monica.
The copywriter in me cannot help herself. I can't stop myself.
Okay. Stop yourself.
Yeah.
All right.
Stop yourself.
Brian, thanks again. Have a great rest of the day. And hold on when we're done, but I'll cut that out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate you having me on.
Great.
Yeah. Thanks. We'll be back next week. Oh, what about us?
What about us?
Write us at donebeingsingle.com.
Go ahead.
Questions, dilemmas,
Real estate issues,
compliments,
whatever.
Complaints.
We'll forward them to the experts.
Funny stories. We are the experts. And
not
then
to mention, hold on.
and
What
then-
about?
And now, more tales from dating hell.
So
We
you got any
want to-
dating hell stories. So that's always good to have.
And follow us at Done Being Single.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Talk to you.
We will be back
hopefully next
again
week,
next week with a new show.
barring any kind of more pandemic
Yes.
things and civil unrest. Okay. Love ya.
Bye bye.
I'm Shadow Stevens with my friends Trevor and Robbie. See you next week on Done Being Single.